Holy crap, we're back! We are back live on Twitch. Have you all missed us out there? It has been so long. What has it been, like 4 or 5 months that we've been out of action while I was moving houses. Tell you what, the housing market has been an absolute nightmare. Glad it's over. Hope we don't have to ever do it again. But anyway, we're back here and it's time to get back into some sim racing. And tonight we have got a bit of a show for you tonight. It is the GT Club Porsche 911 Cup, the grand final at Mount Panorama, of course, because where else are you going to do a grand final but Mount Panorama in the cursed Volkswagens? Little joke there, just in case anyone didn't realise, I don't like the Porsches at all, but well, everyone's in the cursed Volkswagens tonight, so it is time to go racing. Benny back, face cam now, nice. Yes, this is the pre-race show. So, yeah, trying out some new formats, trying to make it a little bit more engaging for the for you, the viewer at home. Nothing wrong with the Porsche, nothing right with it either. Yeah, I agree with you, Aero Ali 21. So, right now the cars are out there for their combined practice and qualifying. This session is basically their qualifying session, and then they're going to move into a shootout session as soon as this is finished. So we might just head straight to the track and get into some action. Unfortunately, we have not got the game capture working. Why is that so? Give us a minute. Oh, there we go. Now we've got it up there. So currently we're watching the top of the leaderboard at the moment, which is Lieutenant Llama in the 02 Porsche. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to quickly bring up the points for the 911. So currently leading the way is Dravelmere, followed by Matt Double, and it is a rather commanding lead from Dravelmere. He's just about 60 points clear of his nearest rival, Matt Double. And then we have Lieutenant Llama. The battle for second is well and truly on. We have, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers that can take second tonight. I think Dravelmere is quite safe. Not sure if he's going to race. Hopefully he turns up. It's always good to see Dravelmere throwing a Porsche around any track really, but especially Mount Panorama. So of course, Matt Double, Lieutenant Llama, Mike Casey and Andrew Ferguson, they're all going to be fighting for second place in the championship. So yeah, that's going to be very, very entertaining to watch tonight, so keep an eye on those guys. We know that Ferguson and Matt Double are all in the server. And Corey Williams as well is in the server. So good to see all the competitors for second place in the championship out on track at the moment. Also, give me a bit of a heads up on how the audio levels are. It's been certainly a while since we last streamed, and I reckon I've probably stuffed up some audio levels in the forced break that I had. Anyway, let's swap around to Matt Double. This is currently second in the championship and currently second on the leaderboard, but he has got some time to make up on Lieutenant Llama. Almost second between himself and his championship rival. As he makes his way out of the chase, we're right on board with him. Man, that interior is super loud. Fortunately tonight I'm by myself. I do not have a co-commentator, but hey, sounds about right really for me. Nothing's changed there. Anyway, it is great to be back anyway, watching some awesome sim racing. So, have a little ride around this legendary circuit with Matt Double. I've already gone through turn 1 and now up Mountain Straight towards Griffin's Bend. We can use the uphill to our advantage, the sort of incline with the track there, just to help slow the car down. Now it's a bit of a nightmare of a corner, the cutting. See many accidents here. Of course, most famous being Ambrose and Murphy. Probably my favourite one as well. Guys almost turned V8 supercars into MMA. But anyway. Right, through Sullivan Park under the tree, and now through Reed Park. Another tough part of the circuit on cars. Got to get that line right, otherwise it will feed you into the fence. It is pretty well one line all the way from the cutting to Forest Elbow. As we make our way past Skyline, down the S's into the Dipper. This is really a track that does not need introductions or guides. We've all been around this track a million times, but geez, it never gets old watching people hoon around this circuit, as Steve Duro actually moves up into second place. He picks up 2/10 on his previous best. So good to see Duro, the GT Club leader, out there having a run and representing himself pretty well, I'd say. Down the front straight, hitting a top speed of 280 kilometres per hour, just brushes 280 into the chase. Got to be careful of the curbs. Porsche's, of course, not a huge fan of curbs, so you just got to be mindful of that when you're driving these cars. Now into Murray's corner. Last corner to get right, 90-degree left-hander. Watch the curbs on the apex and on the exit, and get the power to the ground all the way to finish the lap. And that is not a bad lap from Matt Double. 2:08.9. Definitely can do better. As he makes his way up the mountain straight for another lap. 22.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the shootout pans out. As, of course, you can do really well in qualifying when you have multiple laps, but it's the shootout where you only get one lap to get it right, and that can make or break your night of racing. Let's check in with Corey Williams, another driver who is in the hunt for second place in the championship. We're no stranger to Corey. We've seen him before in our streams with GT Club, running in the GT4 League and in several other leagues, I'm sure. And it's good to see that he is very competitive. We have a car off the track. He's actually just levitated back to the pits there. So we see Corey Williams head over to Skyline and makes his way down the hill. That car not quite as stable as what he would probably like. He makes his way to the elbow, and that very, very deep there. Costs him as he runs a little bit wide, misses the apex. It might make him a little bit vulnerable in the race for sure. In fact, I think this is his outlap, so should probably disregard all that I've said so far. Corey Williams is still trying to generate temperature in these tyres before he goes for his lap. Haven't quite seen the format for tonight's racing, so we'll have a quick look at that as we instantly turn deaf from the cars idling in pit lane, so sorry about that. Is this, we don't have a race format, and we've only got the practice session. I'll have to keep an eye on that, but we'll keep following Corey Williams as he makes his way through Griffin's Bend and up the hill for another lap. See if he gets it pulled up for the cutting. Sort of did, sort of didn't. Now under this tree, he grabs the curb. That is not optimal. It's not the best way through Sullivan Park. Oh, he's wide at McPhillamy as well. Very lucky to actually keep that car on the black stuff. See all the marbles off track there. Oh, offline, sorry. And doesn't quite get the best line through the dipper. And now through Forest Elbow. It looks like Forest Elbow's actually taken a bit of a hit there. Let's see what's going on here with this barrier. It looks like it's taken a few hits, doesn't it? Don't know if that's been modelled in the game where you can actually damage the wall. I'd be impressed if it has. But that wall has definitely seen better days. Anyway, let's jump back on board with Corey Williams as he makes his way through the chase. He does get it pulled up. So Corey's been very consistent in this league. Just looking at the points right now, he's had 36 at round 1, 34 points at round 2, 40 points at round 3, 37 at round 4, 40 at round 5. He missed round 6. Round 7, unless I haven't counted that right. Sounds like he's binned it, unfortunately. So, a bit of a shame for Corey there. As we now follow Phil Whiteman. I haven't really seen a lot of Phil. I think he's a new name, at least for me he's a new name. Might have been racing with GT Club for a while. Try and find it where he is. He's down in 10th at the moment. He's had a pretty good consistent year as well. Unfortunately missed the last 2 rounds by the looks of things, but it's great to see him on track tonight. And I will have to keep an eye on how Phil goes tonight around the beast that is Mount Panorama. As Bill just guides it down nice and gently. This, of course, being an outlap, sensible thing to do. He may have made a couple of setup changes. Best thing to do, just take it easy and just try and feel what the car's doing before you start going all out. So have about 16 minutes left on the clock as Whiteman guides it through the chase, gets it hard on the brakes. Only driver on track, as I've just noticed it, looking at the timing tower on the left-hand side there. Steve Duro has managed to get within 2/10 of Lieutenant Lama as we go def once more. So, I'm going to have to try and find a solution for that. So we now have a few more drivers on track with Adam Ferguson, another driver who is... No, he is not on track. Oh, there we go. And heads out of pit lane. I'll have a quick look at how Andrew Ferguson has been doing this season. He has been another driver who's been super consistent. Consistency seems to be the word of the day with the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup League for GT Club. So Ferguson consistently scoring all season long. He hasn't missed a round yet, and this series with Drop Your Worst Round That's quite an unusual tactic. But nonetheless, it is good to see that he is out here tonight, putting in a full season with GT Club. It's great to see that Steve has actually put up some, well, at least GT Club has put up some great statistics. We see fastest laps, poles, P1, P2s, and P3. Leading the way on all accounts is Dravelmere, of course. 4 poles, 6 fastest laps, 9 P1s, and 1 third place. So Dravelmere, again, unsurprisingly, the man is just a beast in whatever he drives. Haven't seen him dive into the survey yet, so hopefully we see the Mad Russian tonight. It wouldn't be a night of sim racing on Go Race Promotions Twitch if we didn't have a visit from the man himself. So, Drav, wherever you are, get in the server. We need you, man. We need you out there. Ferguson runs a little bit deep, doesn't quite get the car rotated. We just saw that the Porsche was just pushing a little bit going into turn number 1, and that would not have helped his Delta, at least. In fact, we're going to ride on board with him. Oh, again, he just doesn't quite get this car pulled up. So this Porsche number 53, it's suffering a little bit from understeer, it looks. He's just not able to get it to point into the apex the way he'd like it to. So maybe Bryce being a little bit too far forward. Maybe not enough turn dialed into the car. So yeah, just grabs the curb at the grate. Of course, we have to take into account that he could be sandbagging. But, looking forward to a close race in the midfield with the likes of Ferguson, Weckert and Williams. Hopefully Phil Whiteman gets some speed into the number 88. And we have a decent battle in the midfield. Stay on board with Ferguson just to finish up the lap. As he gets through the chase nicely. Car's looking a little bit more balanced now, so maybe the pressures have just started to come up in the number 53. Gets the car nicely rotated to the apex that time, so I would say that the tyres, I've never actually driven with this mod, so it's hard for me to actually say what these cars are like. But it does look as though it takes a lap for the tyres just to start to come on, at least in just the observations from the outside looking in. So we'll actually stay with Ferguson for this lap, because it looks like he's just starting to pick up a little bit of pace and a little bit of confidence with the car. Gets the car nicely onto the curb for Griffin's Bend, not too much, just runs the front wheel onto the inside curb. We'll see how it goes into the cutting. Oh, that is a nice line. Gets it rotated, uses all the track. And he's showing that he's down on the Delta by about 0.3 of a second, 0.4 now. As he makes his way through Reed Park and now up to McPhillamy. Down by 0.6 in the first sector, so whatever it is, this car is just not quite there for Ferguson, and he loses it and bins it big time. That is bin of the night so far. I'm sure we'll get plenty more bins like that as the night goes on. Let's join our current fastest man at the moment as he's looking ready to go for a quick time attack run. So he gets out of the way of, I want to say that is Whiteman in the number 88. Still trying to generate temperature in these tyres, so the 02. So he's now got more traffic coming up. That would be Steve Duro, I think. No, that would be Weckert. Never mind. Still getting used to all the liveries. Only just got them today, so I have no idea who's in what car at the moment. As Lieutenant Lama starts his flying lap. Now, I wonder if he might just be a little bit too close to Weckert as he makes his way up Mountain Straight. Right on board with him. In fact, I'm going to try and turn down the audio because that is making me deaf. Might just turn the master down as Lieutenant Lama finds the fence. That's a little bit better. I can actually hear myself think now. Tips it through the dipper and makes his way towards Forest Elbow. So Lieutenant Lama this lap, unfortunately, a bit of a ride-off as he found the wall at Reed Park, I should say. Car looks to be in reasonably good shape. The damage is turned down to 50%. But what I found very interesting, if we head back to pits, have a look at the fuel rate and the tyre wear rate, and well, that explains why it's taking a lap or two for these tyres to come on. No tyre blankets, so a bit of margin for error with the Mountain. 50% damage rate, but fuel rate and the tyre wear rate, 200% and 250% respectively. That is going to make it very tough for drivers to manage. As unfortunately, Lieutenant Lama doesn't quite get that right, and he immediately heads back into pit lane. See how his main rival at the moment, Steve Duro, is going. He's got the fastest first sector, but unfortunately, I think he's made a bit of a blue over the top of the mountain, and that has cost him a lot of time. We'll see if he can do it again. Steve Duro, of course, being one of the absolute stalwarts of sim racing, at least with Go Race Promotions. Been around for many, many races. Raced in AK Racing, raced in our first ever league, where he, I think, from memory, he was just beaten by Dravelmere by a mere handful of points. Normally see him in something like a Mercedes, but obviously knows his way around a Porsche as well. See how he goes when he trips the first sector as he finds the fence coming up towards Suleiman Park. And he finds the fence again. That is a serious bin for Steve Duro, and he heads straight back to pit lane. Let's join Kim Weckert. He was on for a good lap, and he's absolutely stuffed it into the fence at the dipper. God for the low damage rate. See if that's done some damage to the steering, and so we can just do this. Damage is fairly minimal. The wheel alignment is still good, so play on. And straight off the track at the chase. Couldn't quite get it pulled up. And I think he will head straight into pit lane. Yes, he does. Imagine there will be pit stops tonight with tyre wear rates and fuel burn rates, sorry, that high. So good opportunity to practice your pit entry. And Worker heads back into pit lane. So check in with Phil Whiteman's, how he's travelling in the number 88. He's so far done a good job. Up by 0.2 on the Delta, on the live Delta. Loses a little bit through Griffin's Bend, but gets a nice exit. And makes his way up to the cutting. Let's see if he can get this Porsche slowed down and then rotated. It looks like he has. He hugs it tight to the wall. And this is looking like a strong lap for Phil. Through Suleiman. And now to Reed Park. Grabs a bit of grass there. Don't want to do that too often at Reed. Many legendary drivers have found that fence on the right-hand side there. And this is looking like a much more confident drive for Phil Whiteman. So he makes his way down through the dipper, just grabbing that inside front wheel as it lifts off the ground. Doesn't quite get it pointed into the apex perfectly. Well, that's okay. He's still 0.4 up, though he hasn't quite got the best exit out of Forest Elbow. You can see that reflected in the sector times. He's lost time to in comparison to his best lap. Just over the top of the mountain. Heads into the chase. Gets it pulled up nicely. He's lost a little bit of time going through the chase. We'll see if he can make it up coming into Murray's. Feeds the power on gently and, oh my word, the man himself has appeared. We summoned him and here he is, Dravelmir. He has joined us. Joined us at the very last 2 minutes of this free practice session and heads into Griffin's Bend. See if he manages to steal the top slot. Gets the rear end of the car sliding through the cutting. But no, it is great to see Dravelmir on my screen again. Very, very talented sim racer. And it is an absolute pleasure to watch him race. A pleasure to race with him as well. So he heads over the top of the mountain. So I don't think he's going to be able to get around for a lap time with 35 seconds on the clock, but this is our championship leader. Guess getting acclimatised to the track and the car. I'm sure he's jumped into the practice server and done some laps. But we're going to join Andrew Ferguson. I'd say he's had a bit of a blue somewhere between the cutting and the elbow. So he's down by a long way on his own personal best. He's not going to get across the line to start another lap though. We'll check on Phil Whiteman. He's looking for an improvement on his previous best. Set green sectors in Sector 1 and Sector 2. And he does do a personal best, which leaves him in 6th. In fact, actually, Dravelmir has actually managed to get across the line in time to start a flying lap. So this is going to be fun. We'll ride on board with with Dravelmere for this lap. Don't know if he's got enough temperature in the tyres. Angles it in early for Griffin's Bend. And up to the cutting. Uses all the space on the right-hand side of the track. Don't think he got it to slow down the way he wanted to. You could hear him downshift to first gear, I guess, just to get the car slowed down. Immediately shifts up to second. He finds the fence! And he is going to abandon that lap, so Dravelmere back to pit lane. Ferguson has... I think he has been to turn one. No, he is doing burnouts. Okay. So that marks the end of practice qualifying. And find out what is going on. Looks like we're going to be going to a quick break, so let's head back to the face cam. And we basically do a quick little summary of that session. So Lieutenant Lama, the man to beat at the moment. But looks like he's going to have a interesting race with Steve Duro tonight. So we'll wait for the server to come back online. And hopefully we have the race format as well. Well, anyway, while we wait, I don't really know what to do while we're waiting. It's first time back, so no idea what to do with this format. I guess give me some feedback on what you think of the format, having the pre-race show and what have you. We will also be doing post-race highlights and reviews of the race itself. So make sure you stick around after the racing to have a look back on some of your favourite moments in the race tonight. So I don't know, maybe have a piece of paper next to you so you can write down your favourite moments of the stream tonight, so we can go back through the replay and look at them in detail, or maybe not. I don't know. So hopefully we get the server back. Having a few problems. Of course, it wouldn't be a stream without a few niggling issues. Well, while we're waiting, we might actually take a bit of a break, and I'll go and get maybe something to drink, and maybe get my own notepad so I can note down some moments so we can go back through it in the post-race review later tonight. And hopefully the server will be up and running by the time we come back. So make sure you hold tight, and we'll be right back. And we're just about ready to get back into it as the server is up. Thank you, Steve, letting me know that the server is up just as I join. Fando26, love the nip cam. I actually did a bit of a double take because I was like, got a nip showing us. Jeez. Bit awkward. Who was that? Who was that? Who was that singer that had the wardrobe malfunction? Who was that? Janet Jackson. Yeah, I thought I was having a Janet Jackson moment. As we're into the shootout now. Thank you, Meatbag. Very helpful. Glad you're here. Now, don't know if this is his out lap or his hot lap. Looks like Dravelmir is absolutely sending it, so it might be his hot lap. As Phil Whiteman now joins the circuit, so I would say, yes, this is his hot lap. Unfortunately, we've joined it at the wrong moment. We'll wait and see where Drelmir ends up at the end of this lap. Fortunately, not able to get a lap in when he joined the server. So he's first on the track. In fact, Whiteman actually waiting at pit lane. So we haven't missed it. We have not missed the hot lap from Drelmir. So this is great to see. Joined just in time. See Drelmir just trying to get the last few seconds of heat into those tyres. So he makes it around Murray's corner, concentrates on getting a strong exit onto the front straight. In fact, let me actually bring that up full screen. New format, getting used to it. Anyway, Drelmir makes his way up the hill towards Griffin's Bend. Gets it pointed in. Probably used a little bit more steering lock than he would have liked. As he makes his way up towards the cutting. Tipton has a few stabs at the steering just to get the car pointed in, but nice and smooth on the exit. Oh, he's so close to the wall under the tree. I wouldn't be surprised if he took the top layer of paint off that car. It gets through Reed Park and McPhillamy. Picture perfect this time. And now down the hill he goes. He is on maximum attack. Look at the car moving around. Matty Richards. Here's my face. Haven't seen an Aussie man review video for a while. Drelmir carries a lot of speed. He ends up track sacrificing going into Forest Elbow. I don't know how that affects his lap time. So we've got some timing dramas. He is not doing a 320 at the moment. I'll try and bring up some sectors. There we go. That's better. It's my first day. Now Drelmir into the final corner. We'll see what he stops the clock at. And it is a 2:07.09. Now I think that is actually faster than what Lieutenant Lama managed. So Drelmir throwing down the gauntlet, and a subscription from Ruka again. 19 months. Currently on a 19-month streak. Thank you, Ruka. Chris Nipris already out of fuel. No. Give him time. Anyway, Phil Whiteman, we're following him now as he makes his way out of the first corner to start his flying lap. Jump on board with Whiteman. Makes his way up the hill towards Griffin's Bend. Hits sixth gear up to 242 kilometres per hour. Back down to second for Phil. Gets a nice smooth exit. All he's got to do is just make sure he gets a clean lap, because this mountain does bite hard if you're a little bit careless. Unfortunately, don't have any sector times. That is very unfortunate. Now down the hill for Phil Whiteman. Over the curb. Nice and smooth. May not look quick, but smooth. Rarely does look quick, but it usually is quick. I wonder if we can make that into a Murrayism for, well, whatever the version of Murrayism is for me. So Whiteman now makes his way through the chase. See the car bouncing over the bumps. I reckon that'd be really uncomfortable in real life. These Porsches do not look like they ride bumps very well at all. It's looking like a pretty solid time for Whiteman. Back down to first for the final corner. And it's going to be a 2:15, 2:15.9. So, not the strongest time for Phil. But we'll see see where he ends up as the rest of the field cycles through their laps. Ruka already with the Porsche. Mate, these Porsches are actually cursed Volkswagens. And I'm not sorry for that. Right, Corey Williams currently in the battle for second place. Mathematically, he can get second place tonight. He's had a very, very consistent season, just looking at the points. Fortunately, we have missed a lot of this season, but well, I'm glad that we're here to get the grand final tonight. As Corey Williams makes his way through the cutting, gets a little bit of oversteer on exit, a little bit of wheel spin. Through Suleiman Park now to Reed and McPhillamy. Nice and smooth through the S's and the dipper. This is looking like a... Unfortunately, I can't tell you that we're going to... where Corey will end up. I still have no sector times. I have no idea how to fix it. Makes his way down the hill, hits 280 kilometers per hour, only just before the braking zone. And through the chase, he grabs a lot of curb. Manages to hold it together as he makes his way through to the final corner. Where will he stop the clock? Oh, runs it wide, but he stops the clock at a 2:10.9. So Corey Williams on provisional second. But now it's Kim Weckert. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's been a while since I've had to actually pronounce names. But now Weckert starts his flying lap. Kim Weckert currently 8th in the standings. He can leapfrog several drivers, including Laurie McLaughlin and even Corey Williams, really. But he won't be able to take a podium, a spot on the rostrum at the end of this season. Nice and smooth exit out of Griffins. He's still trying to generate heat into these tyres, so this Porsche not quite ready to be pushed at 100%. Just see the inside wheels just pick up as he makes his way through McPhillamy. How close does he get to the wall? How much curb does he take? Oh, he gets it sideways and he is... Oh, what a save! That is a save and a half. We'll have to get someone to clip that. Ruka, would you please do the honours? Clip that. That was a magnificent save from Kim Weckert. I don't know how he held on to that. We'll see what it's done to his time. I don't think he's going to threaten Dravelmere. Though I've been wrong in the past. He heads up towards the final corner. And he stops the clock at 2:10.8, so he just brushes past Corey Williams. He's going to be very disappointed with that lap, I think. Maybe feels like that mistake at Forest Elbow cost him a little bit, but Andrew Ferguson now on track and ready to take on the mountain himself. Tips into turn one, grabs a little bit of curb. Oh, car bounces and he gets a little bit too much exit space. It takes a little bit too much of the exit space there. Misses the apex a little bit at Griffin's Bend. Very aggressive into the cutting. Gets the car rotated nicely, but this car is looking on rails at the moment. Now he's got the temperature up in these tyres, so of course tyre blankets not being used in this series. Gets out of the throttle just to stop it from running wide. Going through McPhillamy now down the hill through the S's. Nice and tidy then for Andrew Ferguson. Into the elbow, runs a bit deep. Doesn't quite get it to the apex probably the way he would want. Goes all the way to the left-hand side of the track for the chase. Now into the final corner. See what he stops the clock at. Again, we don't have times. That's one thing I do regret about the ACTV app. ACC TV app, I should say. Not giving us live times, but that is a 2:08.5, so Ferguson a little bit behind Dravelmere, but now we're watching Matt Double, currently second in the championship. He has got it all to lose. He could mathematically slip off the podium if things don't go to plan for him. As Double makes his way up Mountain Straight towards Griffin's Bend. Jump on board with him. It's a little bit of oversteer on entry. Runs wide, it understeers on the exit of Griffin's. That was a very aggressive. Oh, he grabs the wall at the cutting. So that is going to hurt his lap time at the end of this 6 kilometre drive. Now through McPhillamy Park. Oh, it picks the front of the car up into the air. Runs it wide. He keeps it pointing in the one direction. Very easy to send yourself into the wall at Skyline. Picks up that inside front wheel, going through the dipper. And now towards the elbow. Oh, so close to the wall. I can't believe... Man, that was close to the wall. We're going to have to look at that, I think, in the post-race review. I want to see just how close Matt Double came to hitting that wall. Probably a cigarette paper between the car and the wall. As into the chase he goes. Gets it pointed and rotated nicely. And a good, strong exit for Matt Double. He might be able to salvage a low 208 from this. And it's actually better. It's a 207.6 for Matt Double. So Double, he really wants this second place in the league. And now it's the boss man himself, Steve Duro, in the number 4. Against his long ascent up the hill. See where he picks up the brakes, grabs 6th gear, almost at the 50-meter board actually for Steve Duro. Oh, he grabs that curve. He's not going to be happy with that. That would have cost him a few tenths, I reckon. And into the cutting. Tips it in. He's having a few goes at the steering wheel. Duro absolutely on the edge with this car. A little bit of understeer at Suleiman. As the lift slightly finds the wall at Reed. That's put him off for McPhillamy. See if he can salvage a decent lap from this. The pressure is on him. Oh, that was a beautiful line through the dipper. All 4 wheels planted on the ground firmly. He's able to get the power down. He almost hits the wall again. So Duro on the limit with this number 4 Porsche. Brakes just before the 100-meter board, so comfortable enough with the brakes at least. Can he salvage a lap? It was a nasty run across the top of the mountain. Gets it pulled up for the final corner, and he stops the clock. It's a 207.6, so he just edges out Matt Double. But now we have one man left, and that is Lieutenant Lama, fastest in the qualifying session that we saw before. And we'll see if he can knock Dravelmere off the top. It's the car nice. Doesn't use all the exit space, interestingly enough. We've seen a lot of drivers running out to the exit curb, but Lama held it tight. Now heads up mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend. As much as I hate Porsches, they do have a lovely engine note, especially on the downshifts. So credit where credit is due. Probably a little bit off the tram lines through the cutting there, but so far it's looking like a strong lap for Lieutenant Lama. There's another man who is in the hunt for second place mathematically in the championship. Just see a little bit of a four-wheel slide there for Lama going through McPhillamy. Oh, he's wide. Oh, no. That is not what he wanted going down the hill, making his descent. Put him offline, and just saw when you're a little bit offline at that section of the track, it does affect the next 3 or 4 corners. So Lama's going to be kicking himself. He's going to be holding his breath to see if he can get ahead of Duro or Double. I think he should be able to edge out Ferguson. Flips the curb at the chase. So just a few little mistakes from Lama, and that's cost him a lot on this lap. So, welcome to the chat, Ben Piper. So when he stops the clock at, it's second, a 2:07.4. So even with that mistake, Lieutenant Lama puts himself on the front row next to Dravelmere. So I can only imagine if we head back to the pits and we start looking at timetables, if we can. I forget how to do it. That's right, here we go. So Lieutenant Lama was actually fastest in the first sector. And then he started losing a few tenths here and there, but it was the last sector that killed him the most, or maybe Dravelmere was just that much faster in the final sector. Dravelmere purple sectors, Sector 2 and Sector 3, as you would expect from the legend himself. So let's actually find the man of the hour. There he is right there. So Dravelmere is your pole sitter for tonight's race, and he will start next to Lieutenant Lama, who is in a prime position. Looks like we're going to have to exit the server again, so just go back to face cam, and we'll head out, see if we actually have time to go through some replays. Hopefully we have enough time. Keep an eye on the Discord because they will let us know once the server is up. So we've got a couple of minutes, thankfully. So that gives us time to actually go through some of these closer moments. That is not what I wanted. Stereo Cassell. So we want to have a look at Weckhardt. Have a look at his lap, because this was a big moment at he's fine eventually. Here it is. Here we go. So watch this in slow motion as well. Need more nip cam. Thank you. I don't know how to take that, Fando. I honestly don't. It's a weird thing to say, especially with the whole Janet Jackson thing. Let's watch this in slow motion. And as you can see, just a little bit sideways, the rear of the car just gets unsettled, and that locks up the rear brakes. And like, this is just amazing. Could someone please look at this and get some initial D music into that? Like, that needs to be clipped. Yeah, let's just rewind that for a second. Hang on. All right, hang on. I'll shut up, because this will give you a perfect clip to dub over. All right. Inertia drift? Yeah, that was quite a moment for Kim Weckhardt at the elbow. Another driver that we should probably have a look at, his moment at the top of the mountain. So this was Steve Duro, fortunately not quite getting it right through right here, actually. So we'll try and work out what he has done. I think he's just gone a little bit wide, and you can see this this darker section of the track. That is where the grip is. So see what's happened. I think he has, fortunately a tree got in the way there, but so we'll rewind and let's go slow motion. We'll try and work out what he has done here. So he's just grabbed the curb a little bit. I think he's just carried a little bit too much speed in and finds the fence. But still good enough for third on the grid. And then the last moment we need to look at is Lieutenant Llama as soon as we find him. Missed it because he had an absolutely shocking run over the top of the mountain at Skyline. So we'll go into... Okay, apparently we can't. Never mind. Let's see if we can't work out chase cam or something, or we can just do it like this, whatever. So, looking at Lieutenant Llama here, he just turns in a little bit too early, and that makes him hesitate on the steering wheel. Opens it up just to miss the wall, and he is just way too tight on the curb. I think he may have even locked the brakes a little bit, and well, from there, it's just messed up his entire run down the mountain. As you can see, he has to slow down a lot more just to bring the car back under control to get the rest of the run down the hill right. Honestly, he was only 4/10 off the fastest lap. So, I mean, if he hadn't made that little mistake at the top of the mountain, I reckon Lieutenant Llama would be sitting on pole position for this first race. I think it's first race. Might be multiple races. I'm not 100% sure. But we're still waiting on the server to go back live. Here we go. We have got Steve Duro typing. No, he is not typing anymore. Okay. And the server is up. Thank you, Steve. Hopefully we get in time. So we will get onto the track right now. Piper, when's the Mercy coming? Merch? Good question. Who is willing to sponsor that? I would love to have merch. I would love to sell merch. Okay, so let's have a look at the grid for this first race, this 40-minute race around Mount Panorama. So on pole position, we have got Dravelmere. And then on second place, we have got Lieutenant Llama. Third, we have Steve Duro, and Matt Double brings up fourth position on the second row. Row 3, we have Andrew Ferguson and Kim Weckert. Weckert having a moment of his own at the top of the mountain at the elbow, which we've gone through. Corey Williams and Phil Whiteman make up the rest of this field. Depleted field, unfortunately. Hopefully we get a few more people just join in for the sake of it. But anyway. And I'll buy some Go Race Speedos. Fando, never change, mate. Please, never, ever change. I've missed you, by the way. I've missed you. Speedos cover too much skin to be official merch. Yeah, we'll have the Butler's chaps ready just for you, Ben. Go Race stuff. Oh, no. We'll have Go Race on the front and then an arrow pointing all the way around. If you get my drift. Oh, we're watching cursed Volkswagens with cursed chat at the moment. Fando, Drav to win, hoping Llama can get him. I think it's going to be a tough race. Llama has got the pace though. Like we saw, we went through that lap. If he hadn't made that mistake, because I think he lost roughly half a second with that mistake at Skyline. And he was 4/10 off of Dravelmere's time, so... go racing. The promotion comes out on special occasions. Oh, this chat has turned absolutely cursed. Absolutely cursed. Now, something to keep in mind, tyre wear rate, 275% now. It was 250, now it's 275. Fuel rate, 200%. And tyre blankets, no. So that is going to make this part of the track very, very interesting. Are we actually going to have... do you reckon we're going to get through turn 1 cleanly? It's Friday night. I have a bottle of champagne to start spraying. Boy. I don't want to know what your party is about, Ben. Oh, 50 seconds to go. Turn 1 clean. Yes. Okay, so we got a lot of faith in the GT Club drivers. That's good to know. I totally forgot to turn off stereo car cells. That's going to be irritating for that first lap. Dipper? No. Okay. Well, anyway, we're about to go racing. We have 20 seconds left in this... 20 seconds left to the start of this race. Ladies and gentlemen, I have missed saying this. We are getting set for a start. We have the lights on. Here we go. 6 lights on. 6 lights out. We are away and racing. It is a good start from the front row. Oh, that looks like Matt Double had a shocking start off the second row. Oh my God, my camera work has absolutely very rusty. And it looks like we have a clean turn 1. So everyone's faith in GT Club has been confirmed. Well done, everyone. Give yourself a pat on the back. And it is Dravelmere leading the way from Lieutenant Lama. Lieutenant Lama right on him. Matt Double looking for a move up the inside of Steve Duro going into turn 2. That is a brave move. Duro out wide. And Duro loses a spot. He might be vulnerable to Andrew Ferguson just behind. We're right on board now with Andrew Ferguson. Oh, Dravelmere's wide. Dravelmere's wide at the cutting. And that will give Lieutenant Lama some encouragement. Oh, he's wide under the tree. The cold tyres are catching out Dravelmere. Here comes Lama. He's looking up the inside at Reed Park. He's had to back out of it. Oh, Dravelmere wide at McPhillamy. This might give Lama a chance. We head down the mountain. Dravelmere now starting to be a little bit more cautious. And Matt Double just holding station in 3rd place. We can see in the mirror Steve Duro as well just hunting. Drav is human. I know, it's a shock to me too. The field's starting to spread out a little bit. The top 4 though, all within 2 seconds of each other. Duro looking to fight back on Matt Double after losing that position at turn 2. Cold tyres catching out Duro as well. Got Double now. He's closing in on the back of Lieutenant Lama. Dravelmere is starting to skip out. The tyres are coming to Dravelmere. 1.3 seconds the gap at the end of the first lap. Double is starting to show a little bit of impatience here. And this is exactly what Dravelmere wanted. He wants to see these guys fight so he can skip away. Duro showing the nose there on Matt Double. now that back tail end of the field just starting to spread out. Ferguson still in the hunt. One mistake from any of these guys and he will be on the back of Duro. 1.4 seconds is not a lot, but he has also got Weckert trailing him by just over a second. Follow these guys for a few moments. Weckert just holding station now. Just settling into a groove now, not pushing too hard, but geez, Dravelmir, almost 2 seconds the gap now. So Dravelmir, he's double big slide going into the elbow. I was just about to say that Dravelmir has just engaged the alien.exe file. He is starting to stretch the legs. Might have borrowed that from Andy O'Hara, perhaps. Oh, double the rear of that car, moving around as he gets on the brakes for the chase. And Duro, he's got the headlights ablaze. He is trying to apply that blowtorch to the back of Matt Double's car. Would not want to be in the shoes, in the driver's seat of the number 42 Porsche, as Dravelmir sets the fastest lap of the race, 2:08.3. Go race colours, green and black. Drav Porsche, green and black. Not saying it's a conspiracy. Ben, shh. It's our secret, mate. It's our secret. Got to ask, because it is a 40-minute race, the tyre wear is up to 275%. Got to wonder, is Dravelmir taking too much out of these tyres? We'll have to keep an eye on his pace as this race moves along. Half Russian. Oh, here we go. Double. He is all over the back. Oh, Double almost lost the back of this Porsche. Note that down. Have a look at that on the post-race review. But, this battle for second. Almost code brown for Duro. Yeah, Duro would have had absolutely nowhere to go as they make their way into the chase. These three are in close quarters. This is what I love seeing in sim racing, when drivers are just absolutely professional. As look at the back of Double's car at the number 4 Porsche. And Dravelmir into the 207s already, so Dravelmir's... Oh, Double, he's had a bad exit out of the first corner. This is going to give Steve Duro all the opportunity he needs. He actually is in front as they head towards the crest. And he's on the wrong side of the track, though. Double is going to brake late, but Duro chops the nose off. So Steve Duro up to third place. He takes back his starting position and he will get his head down to try and catch up to Lieutenant Drummer. He backs it into the cutting. Oh, Double finds the fence on the exit of the cutting, so Double's probably a little bit unsettled by that move. And yeah, Ben, you're absolutely right. Still early, not worth fighting that too hard. Into the fence goes Double, so he is really pushing hard, trying to keep the pressure on Duro. He wants that position back. I just hope these guys aren't losing sight of the bigger picture, and that is the number 38 Porsche is starting to skip ahead the gap. 3.5 now. Duro finds the fence on the exit of the elbow. Tell you what, the man I'm liking the look of at the moment is Ferguson. He's keeping that car straight. Yes, he's 1.7 seconds drift of Matt Double and Steve Duro. Oh, Duro. What was going on with Duro? He was all over the grass, and that allows Double a pass at the chase. Oh, Duro only just keeps off the grass as he got on the brakes. That is going to have to be move of the day. Already, we've got some highlights. Yeah, can't show replay. This is a set of Corsa. We have to do it post-race. That is an absolute moment and a half. But wow, Matt Double is fighting hard in the first 10 minutes of this race. Actually, you know something? The gap has come down between Lieutenant Lama and Dravelmere. I wonder if Dravelmere made a mistake somewhere on lap 4. We'll probably have a look for that post-race as well. Fortunately, not much else going on the track except for these three drivers in close quarters, but hopefully they start working together and they can close the gap to Dravelmere. Starting to extend that gap again. Double finds the fence. So I'll tell you what, Matt Double is absolutely pushing hard. Maybe a little bit too hard at this stage of the race. It's going to frustrate Duro because Duro does have the pace. Oh, Duro goes straight ahead. And he just hangs on to it. Maybe Steve Duro starting to push a little bit too hard, trying to maybe rushing a little bit. He's seen that gap between Double and Lama starting to extend. He's just got to keep in mind that Andrew Ferguson doesn't get too close. He is 1.5 seconds behind. Jeez, that car is unstable as they head over the hump at down Conrod. Ben Piper, yes, they're running damage, but it's only on 50% because Bathurst. So we tick off another lap. We're starting to see some purple times there for Lieutenant Lama, Matt Double, and Andrew Ferguson. So Ferguson, I think Ferguson is sitting rather comfortably in 5th place. He's got a 3-second gap to Weckert behind him, and Corey Williams further 9 seconds back. Phil Whiteman, I think he's just trying to finish the race. But, honestly, it's tough work, this track, and even tougher with the cursed Volkswagens. Going on. Oh, Double's found the fence now. So we'll have to find out. That's going on the list. We've already got about 4 or 5 things to look at. But Matt Double surrenders 3rd place again to Steve Duro. And got to wonder how much damage is on that number 42. As we've gone, we're almost at half race distance. Well, not quite, 27.5 minutes left to go. And, Steve Duro, I wonder if he'll try and get his head down and close that gap to Lieutenant Lama. See him just moving around down Conrod, trying to disrupt that slipstream from Matt Double. As here comes Double again, he ranges up on the back of Duro. As into the final corner we go, not quite for Double, can't find the gap. Oh, here we go. Matt Double now. We're going to ride on board with him. Double chased to the wall by Duro, but he has got the inside line. Does he have an overlap? Duro does give him room. Oh, they almost touch. But amazing driving from these guys. Depth perception on point from Matt Double, not to touch the back of Steve Duro. But this race is absolutely going off for these guys. So head up Mountain Straight one more time into Griffin's Bend. See the damage on the side of the number 42. Andrew Ferguson now has bought into this battle. We'll ride on board with Ferguson. He's got the box seat in the house for this battle between Duro and Double. Now the important part for Ferguson is just to try and not make a mistake as he almost finds the fence at Suleiman. Duro, oh, you just see Duro grab too much curb going through Reed Park. Just see that Ferguson not quite as confident as the two drivers ahead of him. Oh, he almost makes the same mistake as what Lama did in the shootout. We see a bit of a lock break there for Double. Double running out wide down Conrod. This may give Ferguson a chance to get the toe down Conrod straight. See if there's a move in the chase for Ferguson. He's looking for it. He shows the nose, but pulls back in immediately. So, Duro sets his fastest lap at 2:08.6. 3 seconds behind Lieutenant Lama. I wonder if the tyres are going on the Matt Double Porsche. He's starting to make little mistakes here and there. Maybe the tyre's just getting a little bit greasy. You know, I have to say, shout out to this guy here, Corey Williams. I know he's having a bit of a lonely race down in 7th, but I've been watching his times throughout this race, and he has been super consistent. So shout out to Corey Williams in the number 96 Porsche. I think the last few laps have been 2:10.5, 2:10.5s. Just absolute metronome for Corey Williams. Makes a little mistake just as I'm praising him. But yeah, Corey Williams starting to get comfortable with the sim racing world, I think. Let's get back to this battle here. We've joined at the right time. Matt Double ranges up onto the back of Steve Duro as they head through Skyline and down the hill. Oh, Ferguson not taking an optimal line. That was not a good run down the hill. He's up on two wheels through the S's. I mean, I like hitting that curb hard, but that was a little bit too hard for Ferguson. I'm sure the hands would have been working overtime on the steering wheel. Through the chase one more time. Oh, Duro looked as though he had a bit of an understeer moment going through the chase, but he's managed to pull it back. As to Murray's to tick off another lap. Oh, Ferguson runs wide. That's going to hurt him. Double at 2:08.5. That's his fastest lap of the race. So Matt Double, he's starting to fight back a bit. Now, both these guys are losing time to Lieutenant Lama. 3 seconds the gap now as we're getting closer to that halfway mark. Might start seeing some pit stops being made. I'm assuming there are mandatory pit stops. right on board with Matt Double. Get a look at the steering action for Matt Double. Get a bit of a sense of how this car is handling. Even though he's found the fence a few times in this race, it doesn't look like as if he's knocked anything too far out of alignment. Juro finds a little bit too much curb through the S's. That was a bit of a code brown alert for Matt Double there, as he headed into the dipper. Out of the elbow, a bit of wheel spin and a bit of fence for Juro and a bit of fence for Double. But they have managed to close the gap a little bit to Lieutenant Lama. Lama now only 2.7 seconds up the road. Spare a thought though for this man here. I mean, it's not our fault that this man is so fast. He's out to 8.8 seconds now. Almost, you could almost call that 9 seconds actually. Absolute consistency again. 207s, low 207s for Dravelmir. What more can you do to try and beat this guy? As Kim Weckert's a server personal best, 209.034. So we'll keep an eye on this guy. Starting to close the gap. Oh, we have a man off the track. That is Corey Williams. He has managed to bin it at the final corner. So add that to the list of things to review at the end of this race. So Corey Williams, just as commentator's curse. Man, I've missed that power. I've honestly missed the power of the commentator's curse. I would never let it go again. Let's resume this battle here. Steve Juro and Matt Double. And they've really closed up onto the back of Lieutenant Lama. So Lama, see what's going on with him. He's certainly off the pace a fair bit. He's made a mistake somewhere. And this is dropping him into the clutches of Juro, who finds the fence at the elbow again. See if he can get that gap down a little bit further. And if any man can do it, it is Steve Juro. He's no stranger to trying to catch faster drivers. And into the pits goes Lieutenant Lama. Dravelmir also in pit lane. So the first of the pit stops are starting to cycle through. Juro and Double going for the overcut on both, well, at least for Lieutenant Lama. So this is now the provisional lead of this race. Ferguson and Weckert also in the pit lane. So it is now just Juro and Double out in front. Double just falling behind 9/10 the gap now between himself and Juro. This would be about the time for these two guys to start knuckling down and trying to set as many fast laps as humanly possible. Try and maximise the overcut on Lieutenant Lama, who has rejoined, do some quick maths, 23 seconds behind this battle. Oh, behind Steve Juro, sorry. Unfortunately, for Juro, he might have been hoping that Dravelmir would come out in traffic, and that might have slowed him down a little bit. As here we go. Now we got another battle developing here. Weckert and Ferguson. So Ferguson leads the way ahead of Kim Weckert. Did say to keep an eye on this guy. He was starting to show some pace at a personal best a few laps ago. Now Matt Double into pit lane, so we'll have to keep an eye on where he comes out. In fact, we're going to go into our drone cam. And it's definitely not going to beat Dravelmere, as there goes the number 38. But where is Lama? There is Lama coming down the front straight. Oh, Double gets a good exit. And he has jumped Lieutenant Lama. So Matt Double is now in front of Lieutenant Lama, but Lama on warm tyres, Double on stone cold tyres. It is now or never for Lieutenant Lama if he is going to get in front of Double to go for second place at least. So we'll keep an eye on that battle, but this battle's still going on. Andrew Ferguson and Kim Weckert. They head up Mountain Straight. Ferguson leading the way from Weckert through Griffin's Bend, sorry. And now up towards the cutting. Bit far from Griffith. Yep, I knew at the moment I said it. And here we go. Matt Double, cold tyres. Lieutenant Lama, warm tyres. Will we see a dive bomb into Forest Elbow? No, maybe. Double finds the fence at the elbow. This is going to give Lieutenant Lama a chance. And Lieutenant Lama with the much better exit. Are we going to see a bit of drafting down the front straight? Double. He pulls in behind Lieutenant Lama, and he's right on the rear bar of Lieutenant Lama as they head into the chase. Lick the stamps. Are we going to see it? Yes, we are. No, we're not. Matt Double thinks better of it. 13 minutes, 50 seconds left to run in this race. And Steve Juro is in pit lane. Where is he going to come out? When we keep in mind where Matt Double came out, he is going to beat both Lama and Double out the pit lane. He chose us post. We deliver eventually. So now it's going to be the mighty three drivers of Juro, Lama and Double all battling for second place. Again, we've come full circle since the start of the race. I mean, Dravelmere 8.6 seconds ahead of Juro, and that gap is climbing. So basically, forget Dravelmere, he's gone. Dravelmere is gone. The battle between Weckert and Ferguson has started to settle down. Whiteman has actually closed the gap big time on Corey Williams. That gap was up to 30 seconds at first. Oh, Whiteman has into pit lane. That is probably why he closed the gap. Now, this is where we saw Lama close in on the back of Double through this section of the circuit. Warm tyres providing a much bigger advantage than cold tyres. Funnily enough, Double into the fence! He has done a Chaz Mostert, and he has managed to survive amazingly. So we'll have to have a look and see what happened to Double there. But that was a hell of a moment for Matt Double. Maybe sent it a little bit too hard there. It's very easy when you're following someone at the top of the mountain. Fastest lap of the race, by the way. 2:07.025 for Dravelmere in the number 38 Porsche. So Dravelmere just he's just starting to turn those thumb screws a little bit further. Fastest lap for Lieutenant Lama, 2:08.3. He is now within 1.5 seconds of Steve Duro. Also Ferguson setting a personal best, and Kim Weckert setting a personal best. So times are starting to come out of these drivers. Weckert, I think, the most improved so far. So we'll keep an eye on this battle here. Duro just holding the gap steady at 1.4-ish seconds. He's just starting to settle into a groove, so the tyres are come up to pressure in the number 4. In fact, Lama falling back from Duro and back into the clutches of Matt Double, who stays away from the wall this time. Or not. Whatever. And this battle here, oh, Weckert almost finding the fence as well. Might have just taken a little bit of paint off that car. As we're heading into the final 10 minutes of this race. And, oh, by the way, Dravelmere into the 206s, that's all. I have a feeling that Dravelmere has just started to, he's started to try. I don't know what you guys think. I just get that feeling that he is now trying to drive a little bit faster. Weckert, personal best, 2:08.6. So Weckert really starting to turn the wick up on the back of Andrew Ferguson. Oh, runs it a little bit wide. And that car jumping around all over the place. Just looking through this highlight list that I've got to look at, Matt Double really trying to maximise his screen time. We're going to be looking back at a lot of moments for Matt Double, unfortunately. Not all of them good, but definitely the battle on lap 4 with Duro and Double. That is going to be one I'm going to have on repeat for a long, long, long time. Unfortunately, the gaps are starting to spread out again. Might have to quickly follow Phil Whiteman. I'm going to guess one of the newer drivers in GT Club. Maybe a newer driver in sim racing, all full stop. He's setting some consistent lap times now, mid 2:14s. Again, tough. It's a tough thing to do, running one of these Porsches around Mount Panorama. It's tough enough in a GT3 car or a V8 supercar. Then put the engine in the back of any one of those cars and you've got a nightmare. As Lieutenant Lama sets a 2:08 flat in his pursuit of Steve Duro. As Dravelmere starting to close in on the back of Phil. See how this affects Dravelmir's rhythm. Although I do suspect that Phil will just sidestep Dravelmir quite nicely. And oh, this is not an ideal line for Whiteman. I think he might have just been a little bit too distracted by the looming Mad Russian. And he does find the fence, but luckily manages to keep going. The wonders of sim racing. Check back with this battle here, Ferguson and Weckert. Weckert's just not able to get that gap down below a second. He did run pretty close to the back of Ferguson not that long ago, and as I say that, he's got the gap down to 1.2. Don't think he's going to be able to close in on this lap. Time is starting to run out for Weckert. So little mistakes there, like what we just saw for Ferguson going through the chase, grabbing too much curb. That is going to give, oh wow, 2:07.3 for Matt Double. So Matt Double's starting to have a go now. It's going to be quite frustrating. 2:07.9 for Weckert. So Weckert really starting to come on strong in the latter stages of this race, as both he and Ferguson run a little bit deep into turn number 1. Weckert now within a second of Ferguson. This is where Ferguson will be tested. You got someone closing in on the back of your car. It is very intimidating. It is easy to get distracted by it. Similarly for Weckert, you can see that you're closing the gap. It's always a temptation just to go, I can brake a little bit later. I can pick up the throttle a little bit earlier. And I can tell you right now, that is the wrong way to do it. Oh, Weckert. As I'm saying that, he pushes a little bit hard through Reed. Almost finds the fence. Just saves that. That was a bit of a moment for Weckert. It's cost him a little bit of time. Now he focuses on the exit. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin. That's going to hurt him down the long run of Conrod Straight. Time continues to tick down. Now 2:07.9 for Lieutenant Lama, his personal best. 2:07.5 for Matt Double. So the times are starting to come in nice and fast. 2:08.2 for Ferguson, that's his personal best. So starting to see purple lighting up our timing tree on the left-hand side there. So fortunately for us, we're sort of being robbed of a good three-way battle. Although lap car up ahead in Phil Whiteman, that might close this group up a little bit. See if Phil manages to just sidestep these guys a little bit more cleanly than what he did with Dravelmir. He does so for Duro, but he's still got a few cars coming up behind him. 209.2 for Corey Williams. So Williams starting to come on strong as well. Once again, joining in on the purple party. Well, this battle's starting to get close again. Half a second now between Ferguson and Weckert as our leader, Dravelmere, makes his way towards the white flag, I would guess. We'll look at the back of Ferguson at Weckert. Weckert closes in on the brakes at the elbow. Weckert focuses on the exit. Gets good drive. I think Ferguson might have got slightly better drive, but Weckert now in the slipstream of Ferguson as they head down the long run of Conrad Straight. Now, by the way, 206.6 for Dravelmere as he starts his final lap at the end of 39 minutes of racing. So Dravelmere, that car, super consistent. Oh, Ferguson makes a mistake. This is the chance for Weckert. Weckert gets a good run, but Ferguson goes defensive into the final corner. He'll have the right side of the track. Now Weckert, he's got to stand on the brakes and try and get a better exit. Ferguson awake to it. He'll hold the inside line on the run to turn number 1. Can Weckert get the switch back? He's aiming for it. He goes for it. Can't quite get it done, but great exchange between these drivers. Final lap of the race. Double is closed in on the back of Lieutenant Lama. That is for 3rd place. Check in on these guys. It is tight again. As white flag is now out on our timing board. So this man here will return to those 2 battles as soon as we can. But we have to give attention to this guy because he has just been unstoppable. 16 seconds the gap between himself and the next car. Absolute metronome. Absolute machine, this guy. He has been nothing but clockwork this entire race. Except for maybe a mistake, possibly on lap 4. Drinking game for metronome. Right, how many times did I say metronome? Well, when we got Dravelmere in the server, you'll be plastered by the end of the first lap. As Dravelmere comes around the final corner to pick up the win for the night. In this race, Double has managed to get around Lieutenant Lama. We are going to join this battle as it reaches its climax. As they head into the final corner, Steve Duro will finish 2nd. Great drive from Steve Duro. And Matt Double will hold on for 3rd, but we've got a battle here. Weckert and Ferguson. Weckert was looking for the switchback again. Ferguson gets a bad run! And Weckert will not be able to get him, but that was tight. 1/10 between those 2. So brilliant racing between Weckert and Ferguson at the end of that race. So, well, we've got some burnouts going on here. That is Duro doing a nice little bit of circle work. No, he messes up that circle. Try again, Steve. Try again. No, don't you do it. 20-second delay. No, he's going to go back to pits. Oh, hang on. Maybe I beat it. Oh, Double's actually going to try. No, he finds the fence. Never mind. We're just waiting on one man to cross the line, and that is Corey Williams. A very quiet, lonely drive, but it was very consistent. He stayed out of trouble for most of it. So, well done to Corey. Okay, here we go. Oh, Duro, you're doing it. Good, man. Oh, no, you stopped. It's 20-second delay. It kills me. Kills me every time. Well done to Dravelmere. Unstoppable drive in that race. As he leads the way from Steve Duro. Matt Double in 3rd place ahead of Lieutenant Lama. Managed to get the get 3rd place away from Lama, and that secures his well, that pretty well... That will help his quest for second in the championship. Andrew Ferguson, a top 5 finish for him. He had a very, very close battle with Kim Weckert at the end of that race. Corey Williams in 7th and Phil Whiteman managing to finish the race in 8th. That is an achievement. I don't care where you finish. If you finish a race at Bathurst in a Porsche, that's an achievement. So well done, Phil. Now then, we will quickly head back to not that camera, that camera. And we will head back and we will do some post-race, some post-mortems, I suppose. Unless we have another race. I'm assuming there is another race. Quite possibly there's only one race. Hopefully Steve can let me know in chat if we're expecting another race. Probably should have asked these things a little bit earlier as we got prepared. But anyway, let's jump into a replay and we'll start getting... some post-mortems happening. We might make that a little bit smaller. We'll make the chat box a little bit smaller and we'll make this a little bit bigger. Move that up to there. I hope this works. Hey, there we go. Right. Still waiting on confirmation whether we have any, well, second race tonight. But anyway, let's go through some highlights of this race. Get Stereocast Cell up. So we'll have a look at turn 1 because I absolutely had a balls up with the drone camera. So let's try and find... I've had a balls up with the replay. Still. So here we go. We're set for a start. So it was Matt Double that had a bit of a shocking start at first. Way too much wheel spin. He managed to just keep it out the side of Duro as they make the run into turn 1. Nothing really to write home about. Weckert and Williams going side by side through turn 1, but they keep it nice and clean. This was an outstanding little battle heading up into turn number 2. Matt Double on cold tyres, I might add, on Steve Duro. Duro just giving him enough room, and well, actually it looks like Double tried to pull out of the move, and well, Duro just ran a little bit deep, maybe a little bit put off by the Porsche that was sitting right beside him. He almost found the fence as well, so he's done really well to keep it out of the fence for that lap. Let's see, we're going to have a look at Matt Double on roughly lap 3, if I can find it. Say, I think it was about here that he's had his moment at the top of the hill. So he's right up behind Lieutenant Lama. And he's just a little bit wide at the S's. And well, that's not the moment. he's dropped behind. Oh, hang on. Had to restart server. So we are expecting another race tonight. We can keep watching this quick little highlights of some of the best battles of the night. So Duro and Double again. Honestly, player drinking game for Matt Double because Matt Double has been in the thick of it in this race. And he thought about trying to outbrake Steve Duro, but Duro this time on warm tyres, he was able to just drive around the outside of Matt Double. So we'll quickly check. Oh, we have Dravelmere. First grid wasn't set, just restarting the race. Okay, so we'd better get out of this. And I guess we'll just hang out for a bit. Well, gee, we've got a lot to go through anyway. Matt Double and Steve Duro, that was lap 4, so had a look at that. That's good. Definitely have to try and find out what happened to Dravelmere on lap 4, because he's certainly lost a lot of time to Lieutenant Llama. Still waiting for the server to go up. I guess that we're pretty close to getting underway for a reverse grid race. So this will be a little bit more of a challenge, I feel, for Dravelmere. He's going to have to go through basically everyone. Okay, here we go. So, oh wow, we are very close to the start of this race. So we've actually timed that rather well. So we will actually give you a full screen now. Let's have a look at the grid now. So Phil Whiteman and Corey Williams will be off the front row. Kim Weckert and Andrew Ferguson off of row 2. Row 3, we have Lieutenant Llama and Matt Double, and Steve Duro and Dravelmere make up the final row of the grid. Here we go again. 10 seconds left on the clock. Are we going to have a clean turn 1? I think we will. We have got 6 lights on, 6 lights out. We are away and racing. It is a fairly even start from the entire field. Dravelmere already trying to split the middle of the 4th row of the grid, or 3rd row of the grid, sorry. And it is Phil Whiteman who takes the whole shot ahead of Weckert. So a strong start for Phil Whiteman. And look at them, they're 2x2 heading up the mountain straight. Weckert, he's going to be looking for the inside move at turn number 2. Whiteman will give him room. We've almost got a rolling start going on here. We're 2x2 all the way up mountain straight, all the way through the... Oh, that was Lieutenant Llama who just touched the back of, I think that was Corey Williams. We're going 2-1 into the cutting, we're around! Oh no, it is Lieutenant Llama! Unbelievable. So Lieutenant Llama, he has absolutely come unstuck at the cutting. Oh, Heart goes out for him, I think. No, he's going to keep going. That's great news for Lieutenant Lama. But Kim Weckert has taken the lead of this race. Dravelmere, we're used to seeing him stream through the fields, but, well, not at Bathurst, it seems. Now, Ferguson now all over the back of Weckert. Williams just starting to trail behind. He runs in deep. This is going to give Matt Double a chance. He gets hit. Oh no, Double's off. Double is off at the elbow. And that has cost him time. So Corey Williams, just a slight little mistake out of the elbow. And he's just managed to find Matt Double's Porsche. And well, he's going to lose positions to both. Juro, big dive bomb. And oh, he's hit Dravelmere. He's hit Dravelmere. Oh, we've had clean turn ones all night. But, oh no. It's all come unstuck. And although Juro, he has readdressed. I expected nothing less from Steve Juro. He's an absolutely... absolute gentleman driver. And Corey Williams now finds himself back in third place, but he's got Matt Double raining down on the back of him. And welcome to the chat, Goldie Bros. Oh wait, Goldie Bros Jr. Huh. When did Goldie Bros have a kid? Well, anyway, focus on the race here because Matt Double is hunting the back of Williams. I reckon Double will be a little bit nervous behind Williams. Williams, not that long ago, just about a lap ago, binned it at the elbow and it ended up taking out Double. Absolute racing incident in my opinion. I'm not a steward though. Meanwhile, Dravelmere and Whiteman are also getting up close and personal. Wow, Dravelmere makes a pass at Skyline. Well, that's another one for the highlights reel after this race. And now Double. He's got a good run. He's got the slipstream. He should be able to make this move easy. They're side by side down Conrod straight over the crest. I think Double's going to make another move into the chase. Williams backs out of it, but Williams might send it back. No. No return to sender there for Corey Williams. Now fastest lap of the race, Kim Weckert, 2:09.1, but I think that's going to be eclipsed quickly. Not quite 2:08.3 from Dravelmere, so Dravelmere, he is on a charge. I'll tell you what, Lieutenant Lama hasn't lost too much time. He's just 7 seconds off the back of Steve Juro. Juro's just trying to hunt down Phil Whiteman at the moment. And, oh, this is a very short race, it appears. That is interesting. Don't know if that's a server error or whatever. Wait and see if Dravelmere can get further up the grid. tell you what, Kim Weckert, he has made the most of the reverse grid. He is out in front. He's got Andrew Ferguson just sitting behind him. Doesn't get quite the best run out of the final corner. That might bring Ferguson back in on him. Double not really making any inroads on these two in third place. Well, Dravelmere. Oh no, Duro around. That's something I did not think I would ever say. So a rare error from Steve Duro. It looks like he just got a little bit too happy on the loud pedal. We'll have a look at that in after the race. We've got a battle brewing here. Williams. This is, if you're not an experienced sim racer, this is the last thing you want to see. You do not want to see Dravelmere on the back of you at Bathurst. I don't think you want to see Dravelmere on your tail at any circuit, but yeah, Bathurst I think adds a little something. Are we going to see another move here from Dravelmere at Skyline? That is very uncomfortable. Are we going to see a send at the elbow? Dravelmere is... No. Williams goes defensive. Oh, who's that? That's Matt Double. So Double makes it onto my list again. And Dravelmere, he's got a drag race happening with Corey Williams. Williams on the inside, but he has to surrender the corner. And now Corey Williams drops back into fourth, and I have a feeling he's going to lose position to Matt Double as he tries to recover. This has been a nightmare race for Lieutenant Lama and Steve Duro, as those two are nose to tail down in 6th and 7th. It's hard to know where to look at the moment, because we have got a few battles brewing around the circuit. So we have Corey Williams here in fourth. He's trying to hold off Matt Double. Then we've got just behind them Lieutenant Lama and Steve Duro. As I think we have hit half race distance now, with 10 minutes left in this race. See that Matt Double is a lot more confident across the top of the mountain. He actually has a bit of a look at McPhillamy. Brave move. Yeah, no, sub-emotes yet, Goldie. I know. I don't really have an excuse. Buying a house is hard, man. I see Double, he's got a good exit out of the elbow. Will be able to get a run on Williams down Conrad Straight. Williams moving side to side, just trying to break the toe a little bit. Here comes Double. Are we going to see a bit of a send at the chase? Just shows the nose, but doesn't do anything with it. Next opportunity for a pass is into the final corner. Williams goes slightly defensive. Double again shows the nose as 207.4 from Dravelmere, and I think Matt Double just had a PTSD attack. with Williams getting a little bit sideways on the exit curb out of the final corner. They both give each other room. Polite driving from both these guys as Double now slots in behind. Williams, he's going to make him go the long way around. Ooh, maybe a bit of accidental blocking going on there from Williams. But here we go, big send from Double, and does he pull it up? He does indeed. So brilliant pass there from Matt Double, and he finally makes the highlight reel for this race for a good reason. Meanwhile, we've got a good battle here. Lieutenant Lama and Juro. Ferguson and Weckert actually getting close together for the lead of this race. They've got 9 seconds between themselves and Dravelmere, so we could be on for a fresh face at the top of the podium if they can just hold on for another 7.5 minutes. Right on board now with Steve Duro in the number 4 Porsche. Andrew Ferguson now sets a personal best of a 2:07.7. So Ferguson's starting to get real comfortable around this circuit in these cars. 2:06.8 now for Dravelmere. So the Russian is hunting. It's not quite winter though. I think he's going to be able to close up 8 seconds in 6.5 minutes. Cutting. Lama still leading the way from Juro. Not really able to find an opening anywhere. He won't be able to find an opening anywhere from here until the elbow, unless Lama makes a mistake. But geez, I have to say Lama has certainly started to come into some great form lately. It's going to be a tough ask to beat this guy. Juro closes in. He's going to show the nose on the apex at the elbow and try and focus on a good exit. He'll have the toe going down Conrod Straight. Another personal best from Kim Weckert. That's a 2:07.8. Here we go. We got a battle here. Juro around the outside of the chase. Can he get it pulled up? I think he can. They're both going to give each other room. Oh, that was really tight stuff from Juro and Lama. But it is as you were. Geez, these guys are driving with great respect for each other. Oh, Lama makes a mistake going into Griffins. Should be able to give Juro a bit of a run up Mountain Straight. He's got the toe again. Lama's going to make him go the long way around though, as he goes defensive for Griffins. Duro, last of the late breakers. He is brave. He doesn't mind going around the outside for a send, and he finds the fence. Manages to keep it going in the right direction. But, geez, these guys are racing hard. But it is absolutely respectful racing between them. And you'd expect nothing less from the likes of Duro and Llama. Plenty of respect given there. Oh, Llama makes another mistake at Skyline. So Llama, and he's going to run in very deep. And Duro really has to stand on the brake pedal coming down the mountain to avoid running into the back of him. Look at the back of Llama's Porsche now. So we're starting to get close to the final lap of this race. Get another lap in, I think. Here comes Duro again. Are we going to see a send? No, Llama goes slightly defensive. Just makes Steve think twice there. 2:08 flat for Matt Double. He's starting to set some fast lap times at the end of this race. Tip it into turn one for one more time. I'll get another lap so Duro doesn't have to rush this too much. I don't want to miss a second of this. I really want to give our race leader, Kim Wickert, a bit of airtime, but geez, this battle, Lieutenant Llama and Steve Duro. Oh, Llama backs it into the cutting. Oh, and he finds the fence just before Suleiman, so the pressure is starting to get to Llama now. Duro slides it through Suleiman. Look out the back again of Lieutenant Llama's car. That's just slightly uncomfortable to me. Duro runs a bit wide. He gets on top of that exit curb. That's my least favourite exit curb in the world, I reckon. It just seems to pull you off the track. Duro bounces off that little curb after the dipper. We're about to start the final lap of the race. Kim Wecker, your leader, ahead of Andrew Ferguson, who's got just under 4 seconds. I think Ferguson will be safe, barring any incidents. And that was a commentator's curse. I'm sorry, Andrew. Genuinely sorry. Here comes Duro again. He goes for the outside at the chase again. He thinks about it at the last second. Llama goes a little bit deep. Right on board now with Duro. Llama determined to make him go the long way around. Duro won't say no to the long way around. He's got the high beams on. The pressure is on for Lieutenant Llama. Our leader, Kim Weckert. Just lost a little bit of time to Andrew Ferguson. We'll check in with these guys a little bit later because we've got to give this guy some love. He's managed to pick his way through the field in the reverse grid. But it's not over yet. Ferguson's having a bit of a late charge here as we make our way towards Skyline. Duro is just past Lieutenant Llama. I'm going to guess that's at Griffin's with around the outside. Oh, who's that? Is that Ferguson? Ferguson's around! No! Oh no! Andrew Ferguson! And he is in a very awkward position. I hope he's on the Discord warning Matt Double. Oh, that would have been absolutely nerve-wracking for Matt Double. But meanwhile, Kim Weckert Makes his way through the chase for the last time. This has been a great drive from him. Picked his way through the field. He's had a very, very consistent run. Almost trouble-free. He's managed to hold off a charge from Ferguson to take his first win. Or at least take the win in race 2. I shouldn't say his first win. Dravelmere home in second. Ferguson looks like he will hold on to the podium. This is what I want to see. Oh no, Llama! Oh, Llama has absolutely sent it. And he is going to come home in a very disappointing 7th place. Mathematically, he could have taken second, but I think that hope has gone. I was expecting some donuts somewhere. Oh, here we go. Matt Double's sending it into the fence. That's a decent effort. Oh, here we go. Corey, no, who is that? I'll say that's Ferguson doing the donuts. Still waiting on one person to finish the race, and that is Phil Whiteman. Long Pal Gaming just finished work. Can confirm, but I'd have been last. Ah, well. We will never know, Long Pal. And Phil Whiteman comes home with a 7th place. We got Duro there doing some donuts. Here we go. We have Matt Double. No, that's not Matt Double. I think we've had some tyre popping there. So let's run through the finishing order for race number 2 tonight. Touch wood, that should be the last race we have tonight. And anyway, Kim Weckert, your winner for race number 2, ahead of Dravelmere. Andrew Ferguson, after binning it at the top of the mountain, manages to come home and scrape a 3rd place ahead of Matt Double. Corey Williams, a top 5 finish for him. Steve Duro and Lieutenant Llama, both those guys are just going to want to wish that race never happened. And then Phil Whiteman bringing up the last of the finishing drivers. So well done to all those drivers. Okay, well, let's go through some highlights, I reckon. I think that's a good idea. So let's go through race 2. Actually, I should have gone through the rest of race number 1. But we'll go through. Let's go through race. Go through. That's the one we want. Let's go through race number 1 first. For those of you who have just joined us, you've missed an absolutely outstanding night of racing. We've got a lot of highlights to go through. So race 1, just because I know no one can read my handwriting, like that is all the highlights that I've got to go through right now, and then that's race 2. So, geez, be patient with me for a moment. Unfortunately, we have to do it the hard way with the Assetto Corsa replay function. But I'm sure everyone will get over that. Spilt Matt, not Matt. Yeah. Goldie Bros, flattery will not get you a subscription from me. I'm too cheap for that. Alright, so here we go. So this is the start of race number 1. Better get Stereo up quickly. So As you can see, it was a very clean start. Matt Double having a shocking start. He almost ended up in the side of Steve Duro before the first corner. And well, it was rather clean. We had a few little battles with Weckert and Williams going side by side. Now, this was a great little battle on the first lap. Cold tyres, no tyre warmers in this series. And this was a great battle. Great respect shown by both drivers. I think Duro maybe gave a little bit more room to Matt Double, more than what he needed to. But anyway, that was that. And then Duro just having to defend from Ferguson and Weckert. So moving along, we have a moment for Matt Double. I want to say it was, from memory, along here or not. Well, anyway, we're about to have a pretty good battle here again. The battle resumed between Duro and Double at the start of lap number 4. As Matt Double had a big slide on entry into turn number 1, and Steve Duro, he just said, "Thank you very much. I'll take that position." He was on the wrong side of the track, though, but well, Duro really showed his braking prowess here. Last of the late breakers, absolute confidence on the fourth lap of the race, sorry. And just managed to swing in front of Matt Double. We'll swap over to our leader, Dravelmere, because he had a moment at some point here, which saw him lose about a second. I have a feeling it was around the chase, so I'm not sure what happened. No, maybe it was over the top of the mountain. No, I don't know how he managed to lose a second. Anyway, we're going to head back to Matt Double because the very next lap, might have been this lap actually, absolute balls of steel moment here into the chase, side by side with Steve Duro. Again, respect shown by both guys, although Double just sort of maybe escorted Duro a little bit close to the grass than what Duro would have wanted. We'll swap over to Duro and we'll go on board with him. Right about now, there's Matt Double, gives him room. That was a very, very scary moment, I would say. Would have had me fearing for my life. Anyway, we're going to swap over to Corey Williams here. He had a bit of a blue on lap 8. I want to say, I think it was around the S's that he had a mistake. Maybe it was the final corner, that's right. So, into the final corner. Maybe a little bit too deep. Too, what? No. Okay. I'll refine this eventually. So, into the final corner. And I have a feeling it runs a little bit wide. I do remember seeing Corey having a moment. Here it is. So, just saw it then. Just over that curb ever so slightly. And honestly, the most cursed curbs in the world strike again. Absolutely hate. I hate those curbs. So Williams finds the fence on the inside. Guess who we're going back to? Going back to Matt Double. Lap 12. At some point, I think he does pull a Chaz Mostert at the top of the mountain. Can't be there. And as soon as I find it, this will get refined in the future, I swear. Here we go. So we got this battle here between Double and Llama. This was just after Double had come out of pit lane, and he finds the fence at the elbow, and that just gives Llama just the perfect switchback coming down Conrod Straight, and ends up taking an easy position away from Matt Double. About as easy as you can get from Matt Double, really. So Llama just took that with both hands, but Double wasn't quite done. You saw he just thought about having a bit of a move there into the chase, but decides better of it. We're going to quickly swap over to these guys here. Ferguson and Wecker, these guys were having a great battle all night long. We're going to quickly head over to lap 14 or thereabouts. Actually, even just the end of this race, it was absolutely brilliant between these two. They were nose to tail and battling away with each other. So, quickly go on board with Wecker. Got a great run out of the chase, but Ferguson just forced him to go the long way around. You can see that Wecker tried to set up a switchback, but just didn't quite get on the brakes hard enough. Ferguson was probably already prepared for it though, and he manages to hold on for that position. And it continued on. Great racing between these two. It was absolutely top-notch. Top-notch racing between them. Right. That about does it for race number 1 highlights. Let's have a quick look at race 2 highlights. So, over the page, it's pretty well... I really want to have a look at this first lap at the cutting, try and dissect what happened to poor Lieutenant Llama. As he somehow managed to find his way all sideways, and that is only showing my forehead. Absolutely stunning forehead. So we want Lieutenant Llama. So it was a rather clean start from everyone at the start of this race. Honestly, I think this is going to be moment of the night. Unless anyone else has a moment they want us to have a look at. Let me know in chat if you want me to look at something. So, this is just a nightmare for any driver in the middle of the pack. And it was quite amazing because we were 2 by 2 for the first couple of corners. Double just... maybe just not being aware that Llama was there. Llama goes for a bit of a send, clips Double, and around he goes. Absolute shame for Lieutenant Llama. He was having a bit of a difficult night. We'll quickly go back and have a look at this in a little bit more, well, in slow motion glory, actually. So as you can see, almost 3 wide into the cutting. That never works at the best of times, let alone with the cursed Volkswagen. And around goes poor Lieutenant Llama, and he's going to be... I'm going to guess that he is probably got some very strong alcohol to forget that night. And anyway, I think that will do us. Oh, no, no, it's not, because we have actually have another moment I want to have a look at, and that was this massive moment between Steve Duro and Dravelmere at the end of the first lap at the chase. Here we go. I'm going to take you on board with Steve Duro. He gets around, I think that was Ferguson, and he misses his braking marker, and he just tries to just go over the curb, and unfortunately didn't quite get it done. Ends up doing a little bit of circle work in the gravel, and that allows Dravelmere to get ahead of him. So see there, he sees that he's missed his braking mark. He tries to avoid. He's actually off the brake there, trying to, I guess, try to help him miss Drav. And unfortunately for Drav, we'll go over to Drav's point of view, and we'll just see this at full speed. He saw it happening, tried to avoid, open the steering up, but just too little, too late, and unfortunately, that is all she wrote for Duro's race. Really, it was just an absolute nightmare for Steve. I'm hoping he's got some very strong alcohol to get over that one. Oh my goodness, did not see that. Yeah, we're still fine tuning the format, but let me know what you think of the new format, whether it's a little bit over the top or you like it. But I think that will wrap up this stream for tonight. Our next stream will be this Sunday. We are back with V8 Supercars and AK Racing. It is the final round of their American V8 Supercar Series, which is really exciting. I cannot wait to get that rolling again. So make sure you hit the follow button. If you like this, hit subscribe if you really like it. But otherwise, yeah, make sure you keep an eye on Go Race Promotions here on Twitch. We are back, and it is so good to be back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you on Sunday night at around 6:30 Sydney time, and we'll have a guest commentator as well. So, yeah, we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe out there, and if I don't see you, Merry Christmas.